Jeff, how did the film look after watching that and seeing what you saw on Saturday? How did the Roadrunners look?
Yeah, we were a lot cleaner, played a lot better. Not as good, defensively in the first half just because of just stuff. But I thought they were really good in the second half, made some great adjustments, and kids played a lot better. Offensively, pretty solid the entire day. We just blocked really well up front. Whenever you can run the football, it just opens up so many other things. And in the special teams, kind of like I mentioned after the game, giving up the kickoff was disappointing. That has to get cleaned up. But it was the first one we've had brought out on us, so it was good for us to get that experience. We haven't had a live rep all season because Tate's been kicking it in the end zone. He's got to get some of that cleaned up. His accuracy was not real good on the kickoffs, let the ball in the middle of the field. So we've got some stuff to work on, no doubt, but we were much cleaner.
Greg?
Jeff, after the game, you mentioned that there'd be kind of a 24-hour period where you'd have to make some big-time decisions to get ready for East Carolina. What has this time period since the end of the game been like for you, and any direction that you guys have decided on?
Yeah, well, their game was a 5-hour delay, so, we didn't get through watching that game until about 2:30 a.m. that morning. They just do some things schematically that give you fits, and they do a really good job. And he's had the number one defense in the league, last year, and I'm sure that statistically they got to be up there again this year because they create chaos on defense. So they're a tough football team. They lost a heartbreaking game to Liberty where they were up 17-0. Then they lost a heartbreaking game to App where they were up 16-0. So they get off to really fast starts, and they haven't been able to hold on late. So I know that's what Mike's working on, and they're trying to clean all that up. And it's just whenever you go on the road, your first conference ball game, it's tough to get it. And, obviously Memphis going to Navy, that surprised a lot of people. But that first conference game on the road is a hard one to grab. So we've got a lot of work to get done, and our kids are excited about it. And I know East Carolina will be really excited to play us as well.
I was going to ask if you ended up watching East Carolina live just because of how late it went. How did you guys handle kind of keeping track of that one?
I just stayed up and watched it. There's no way I could sleep knowing that game was on for me to watch. So you can't watch it near the same when you get the coach's version of it. We get the wide angle, the tight angle, and the end zone. So it's just a much better way to watch the game.
What's the latest you've ever coached a game in your career? You ever had any kind of crazy delays like that?
Oh, I'm sure I have. I don't know one that just came to the top of my mind. I had to think about that a little bit, but yeah, there's nothing worse than sitting there for a weather delay, and especially with lightning, and when they tell you, you're up in 30 minutes, get the guys moving around a little bit, and then another lightning, and you're back down. Those kind of things are always frustrating. So I know that was a frustrating night for those guys.
You've mentioned their defense, and obviously, especially against the run, they're very highly regarded. What makes them so effective in that way?
It's their chaos. Just watch their blitz patterns. I mean, he's done a super job there. He's been at DC now for 5 years, and he's just really good. Well, they disguise their looks very well, and they play with unbelievable reckless abandon. They're very physical, and they have a lot of pride in their defense, and that's why they're the best team in the league at defense. And, our guys get motivated by that as well, because that's something we've always aspired to be. But UAB was kind of that defense, and now we've come into this league. It's been, East Carolina and Memphis.
JJ? Jeff, is this your first plane flight of the year, and then what kind of challenge does that represent?
Yeah, this is our first one. We've just had some historically bad luck about issues getting off the ground, so I'm a little nervous. Not safety-wise, we've been very safe. It's just procedures and policies. I just hope that goes smoothly. I know that Dr. Campos and Andrew Acosta and Mike Giglio are doing everything in their power to make sure that happens. Just stuff happens with airlines, obviously, but we don't play till 4, on Saturday their time. So surely we'll be in there and be ready to go.
And then it's a hostile environment. You guys played in 2 of those so far this season. You think those 2 previous games help you?
I hope. I've used the analogy all year. You don't know you've got rats in the basement sometimes till the lights come on and you see them, but they were there the whole time. And I know it's a silly analogy, but it's really exposed us to some things about our team where we were weaker than we thought we were, and some areas to clean up. And that Texas State game was a very hostile environment. The Texas game is a very hostile environment, and this one will be the exact same way. Ideally, when the schedule is made, I said to people privately, I'd rather the schedule be flipped and we had all those home games early with our team being so inexperienced in certain areas. But that's not the way the cards were given to us. So we had a really tough road schedule, and then we got some more left. And then our last 6 games, 4 of them are at the house. We just got to stay in the fight, and that's what I'll keep challenging my team. Whether it's 11-9 or 6-4, whatever the score is, we just got to have more points than East Carolina and get back on that plane and come home. There's nothing better than celebrating a road victory, and there's nothing worse than going into a bye week after a loss on a long flight home. Those are tough weeks.
Jeff, how's the health of your team headed into this week?
We're okay. I mean, it's nothing, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, I know JT's getting closer. We think Ken's getting closer at safety. So we'll see about the other guys. We had some stuff happen during the game, but maybe those guys will be back. We're expecting some guys back, as well. So we'll just see. I would say right now, hopeful for about 8 to 10 of those guys.
Greg.
Jeff, you mentioned JT. I saw you were keeping a pretty close eye on him, at least at some point during warm-ups, and it seemed like there was some level of excitement or optimism when you kind of checked in with him after that. Just, can you give us a little bit more detail on his progress and how he's looking?
Yeah, it's just I said on the radio earlier today, I think we should make T-shirts, free JT, and let's get some NIL money going around San Antonio. So maybe 210inspired.org. April or Martin will start some free JT shirts. I'm teasing. The UT Health Center is going to do what's best for that kid, and they'll release him when it's time to be released. I know this is the best he's looked. Even last year when we were trying, we just could tell something wasn't right, and obviously he had to have another surgery to get that fixed. But this year it's just been nothing but progress, and his mindset is in such a good space. He wanted to play 2 weeks ago, and but they're trying to be very cautious with him, but he was really excited. He wasn't sore at all Sunday. He felt really good last night. So we'll see. I just know he looks good, and he's got a smile on his face. And, Mekhi Hart's back out there. That's 2 years of him missing. He's not back to what he was, but he's still one of our very best ones. He's still playing his tail off. I'm excited to see where Mekhi can get to in the next month, and really excited to see where JT will be if he gets to come back out there.
I know the level of competition will be higher this week, but did you see anything in the success of your rushing attack Saturday that might translate to this next game that you have upcoming?
Well, we were superior in our size and our strength and our athletic ability, so I understand that. But we were just cleaner. We were just more sound. We were more specific in our targets. And Houston Christian did a really good job of mixing up a lot of stuff. They gave us a bunch of different fronts, a bunch of different looks, even some ones we hadn't seen coming into the game. So our kids handled that well, and it'll be a good little tune-up for us. Obviously, East Carolina's a lot bigger. They're a lot faster. They're more physical, but they play a reckless style of defense. And Houston Christian gave us some good looks. So it was good for us.
JJ. Jeff, looking at the offensive play overall, are you guys able to take anything from this game and build on it? What specifically do you think you could take from there?
We were cleaner against Texas, so we were already getting better, but I thought we just took another step. We got off to such a great start against Kennesaw, and then kind of lost our mojo there, and then obviously went and played a terrible game against Texas State. So you're kind of like trying to find out who you really are during those moments. And then against Texas, obviously we got our tail kicked, but we were just much cleaner, and I could tell we were heading in the right direction. And I feel like we're doing that. We're just going to see if we're ready yet, JJ. I mean, to go on the road, I know I keep saying it, against a defense this good, they can make you look really bad really quick. So we just got to stay in the fight with those guys and see if we can come out of there with a victory somehow late in the fourth.
Greg?
Jeff, you talked last week about the secondary and some communication back there and perhaps taking a step back in that game. Did you see anything different in this week's film that kind of showed some progress there, or how do you rate that group?
Yeah, we were a lot cleaner, but we were a lot more simple. I told y'all not having Ken back there has been a big loss for us. But we were really – and then Jimmy got nicked up in the game. So, then you lost two of your safeties there in the same spot. So – but, yeah, I thought Elijah, our little freshman, played really well. And then Jamarius Lewis played really well. And Elliott plays good every week. But we were glad to see those guys get out there and get some high reps. And they had no MAs for the first time this whole year. So that was a positive. And we think Ken's not far away. We'll see if he can go this week. If not, he'll be for sure ready against Rice.
Do you think you guys will continue to keep it that simple going forward, or do you want to be able to do more maybe once Ken is back to help the communication part?
Oh, it's always a fine line. I mean, you'd like to have everything in the book ready to go on Saturday, but you got to do what's best for those players. And Ken's just been playing, for 5 years for us, where those other guys have all played here, not even a season. And Elliott's going on year 2.
We saw John Jones flash with a couple plays in this game as well. What was sort of the process of getting him in here late in the cycle, and what has he shown you so far?
Yeah, we just had some, some stuff happen on our D-line here late in the summer and even fall camp. And we had a relationship with John, and he had some stuff he had to get done before he could get in here. So it just all worked out for both parties.
What has he sort of shown you since he's been on campus, or what kind of skills does he bring to the table?
He likes football. He's hungry. He likes to play the game. And I've really enjoyed what I've seen so far from him. He's got tremendous upside, but he likes to play football, and I always like those kind of guys.
How important was it for Chase Allen to see one go through the uprights in this game? Do you think that could kind of put him back on track, or what's your assessment of the field goal unit right now?
Yeah, I thought we were much better in our operations. I mean, we got out there and looked like we knew what we were doing, and that always helps the kicker when everybody else does their job better.
JJ?
Jeff, there are a bunch of reports about UTSA and conference realignment. You had a comment last week on your radio show. Is there anything you could comment on, anything that's happened since?
That's the last comment you will ever hear Jeff Traylor say about the Pac-12. I will have tape on my mouth from now on. I said way too much at the radio show, and I'm not doing that to Dr. Campos or President Amy anymore. So all questions concerning Pac-12, get in touch with Dr. Lisa Campos. Jeff Traylor is out of that professional opinion business.
Greg?
I guess kind of adjacent to that, hopefully it doesn't fall under that umbrella, but do you have to talk to the players about that sort of situation, or how do you guys address it internally?
Yeah, any type of noise like that, I've got people on my staff that listen to it. As I've told y'all a million times before, I just can't get into that world just because there's, with social media, everybody's got their opinions now. So I try to stay off of social media all during football season, but, I've got guys that watch that stuff, and if it's a buzz, which I'm hearing that it is a buzz, we talk to our players about it. But the players, we're just so used to this kind of stuff, that our players know just there's nothing we can do about it. Those are decisions that will be made by other people, and there's nothing we can do. So we just keep our head down. But I do talk to them about it and let them know there's just talk out there and not to think anything. We're in the AAC, and we're really glad to be there, and that's what we tell our players every day.
Anything else for Coach Traylor this morning? All right, thanks, everyone.
God bless. Birds up.